Biden administration continues to run the greatest scam on the middle class of America. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, July the 30th. Can you imagine? We're more than halfway through the year. The markets continue to go higher. We continue to get lied to from this administration. We continue to watch the abuse of President Trump. And it's interesting when you look at the bigger picture that President Trump is hounded every single day, yet Hunter Biden is running around like there's nothing going wrong. President Biden continues to hide from the fact that his son is guilty. And it's interesting, of course, how the media continues to lean to the left. And again, I'm not saying you should be left or right. I'm saying that we should have fair and equal reporting. But at the end of the day, we had the Fed this week, we had CPI, we had all kinds of information, and all bullshit. Bottom line, all bullshit. Because again, the easiest way to understand what inflation is about is to look into your own pocketbook, to look into your own bank account. You tell me if inflation is 3%. Are your bills 3% more than last year, or are they higher than that? I know personally mine are much higher than 3%, and I am not spending any more. I'm buying the same things. As you can tell by the way that I dress, I wear the same things almost all the time. So it's not like I'm out on a spending spree, but we continue to hear the bullshit. And of course, if you look at gas prices, they're at 8-month highs. So once again, we have this to deal with. And of course, that would be easily solved if we would just go back to create our own oil. Now, again, whether you believe in climate change or not, as I've said here many times before, China and India are not going to stop burning coal. The environment is not going to change. John Kerry flying across the country in his private plane, leaving a big old nasty carbon footprint, isn't going to change. Okay, so what do? Well, should we destroy the middle class of America and not produce our own oil so that we can pay $4, $5, $6 a gallon, or should we go back to paying $1.50 to $2.50? You tell me. Okay, because not only does the price of oil affect your car and what you fill up with, but it affects your food, because farmers use a lot of fuel. It affects the transportation of that food. So you're paying more because of the high price of gasoline. Okay, personal income for the month was up 3%, but spending increased to 5%. Not a very good ratio. Figure if you do the math, figure it out. In 5 years, you'll be broke. 24%, 24% a month you're losing, basically. Okay, I mean, again, it's simple to have somebody stand up there and tell you how good their programs are, but do they really work? And we can say with a great deal of certainty that they really do not work. Okay, again, the inflation program for $739 billion, really? Let's just keep giving money to Ukraine, because why shouldn't we continue to fuel that war? Because when it comes down to it, wars are all about money. After the initial conflict, if there was really one, wars are about money. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, we had a little release of some climate control programs, and of course, what they said is that it's all bullshit. That climate change is going to hurt our economy. Okay, because it's not. It has been shown that it has very little impact on the economy, because again, the climate is not really changing. Okay, we're getting warmer, we're getting more population. You want to control the climate a little bit? Get rid of some of the population. All right. Now, a nice big victory for the Mountain Valley Pipeline, which goes from West Virginia, and of course the Supreme Court overruled President Biden, and they're going to build that pipeline, which again, there should be pipelines everywhere, because we are going to use fuel for a long, long time. We are so far away from getting to electric and consumable, non-consumable goods and reusables to getting to the point where they want to get to, that it's all really is a way to fleece the American people. Okay, But yeah, obviously the environmental groups, that told us that the world was ending every year for the last 20. Oh, I guess we're still here, and I guess we're still flourishing. I think, as we look, when we talk about energy and clean energy, where do you think what state do you think is the cleanest in the United States? And I don't think anybody will get this, but it ain't California. It ain't the land of fruits and nuts and imbeciles that continue to pay ridiculous taxes, to continue to finance and fund illegal immigration, so that so the Democratic Party can remain controlled of that area. Okay, Texas is the cleanest state in the union. Okay, they have the best for pollution and things. The cleanest area is Texas, and the king of clean energy would be Texas. Again, we look at this environmental protection versus growth, economic growth. Well, again, the current administration with the squad of haters, they don't want the people of the United States of America to flourish. They want the people of the United States to fail. They want to bring in communism under the guise of climate change. If you look under the surface, there's not one thing that they're doing that is actually benefiting the climate. It's really fleecing you, once again, out of your capital. Okay? And, the unbelievable thing is the Watchdog Group sounding alarm on EPA spending under Biden. The EPA is another piece of shit government organization, very much like the Federal Reserve, who is clueless with, as we saw this week once again, who continues to raise rates into what I would call a recessionary period. And yes, it's not qualified as a recession. The stock market keeps going up, but really a recession comes back down to the individuals. And I think that it's criminal what we're watching. Okay, and is there anything more criminal than Biden blocking school funding for schools that have archery and hunting programs? I mean, there's a lot of places in this country that still hunt and are archers, and what is wrong with that? Okay, it is like they are trying to control and manipulate every part of your being. Okay, that is part of what the digital currency is going to be. This is not the America that we know, and I'll get more into that in our commentary. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty concerned about the control that BlackRock has now got. BlackRock is now controlling about 12 to 15 trillion dollars as they bought up every single thing as when we were in COVID and the crash. And basically, you're bringing this country down to a couple of companies that will control everything. And I don't know if you're okay with that, but I personally am not. Okay, and I think that these are concerns for Americans. And remember, you're not a Democrat or Republican first. You are an American first, and you should care about this country. Okay, and of course, the women's soccer team does not care. And why the fuck are we paying them? Why are they able to capitalize off of being the women's soccer team, and they won't even stand up for or participate in the national anthem? You tell me what your views are of that. Okay, to me, that is a disgrace. That if you want to represent this country and benefit off of those things that create benefit for you, and you're representing the United States of America, should you not participate and stand for the national anthem? Okay, again, you tell me, because again, the things that are going on in this country are scary. Between all the legislation for trans America, okay, and you see what's happened to Bud Light. The majority are not thrilled because you're talking about less than 1% of the population. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd Bubba Horwitz. It is Sunday, July the 30th, and of course we're going to step out here for a break, and we'll be back with our market report right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line, Sunday, July the 30th. Well, kids, we have sponsors and they're brokerage partners, and of course we have other brokers, just to give you full disclosure, but the two that we prefer the best for commodities and futures is Capital Trading Group, CTG. Listen, they got their greatest customer service. Their pricing is mid-range between everybody else. They are there to serve you. They understand their role in this industry, and they will help you in any way they can. They are my favorite, and although I have many, I have 90% of my money with Capital Trading Group, and that's info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. And their information is scrolling on the side as well. And then, of course, for equities and options, there's nothing like Trade Your Brokerage. How can you miss out or not want to be with Trader when you can pay $10 a month for your brokerage fees flat? Okay, there's no other fees. It's $10 a month flat. Okay, they've got everything you need, and they also have terrific customer service. So once again, it's try.trader.com/Bubba. Again, scrolling on the side, and of course our high school program, which is scrolling on the bottom, and of course our newest partner, which is targettrading.co. Another educator, somebody that I have a lot of respect for. Check them out, targettrading.co. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, our market report. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, July the 30th, and of course, every week we give you a market update and a market report. And look, you had the Fed, so you had a little bit of selling on Wednesday, Thursday, and Thursday looked like a potential key reversal in markets, and as it turns out, it was not. As it turns out, markets sold off, and of course they rallied back, and of course another up week for the across the board. We remain long across the board, and it would not surprise me if we made new highs. I mean, look, there's no reason for it. I cannot look at anything to me that says there should be new highs, but again, new highs are new highs. I can't argue with the fact of what's going on either. Okay. In the meantime, the four major indices were higher once again, and we are still long the four major indices. And again, it doesn't look there's any time going to change soon. As we look at the dollar now, we don't trade the dollar, and somebody had commented that that I think the dollar's bad and that I'm in Bitcoin. Well, we are in Bitcoin, but it's not because we think the dollar is bad. It's because it's the exchanges make the dollar harder to trade and more expensive for the average investor. So when I can trade the euro currency as the opposite in the same thing, but we would be long. We'd be long dollars now. Okay, we were short coming in, and of course the euro currency we are now short. Okay, we were long for obviously a very big part of that run. Bitcoin, we continue to be long, and of course that was higher once again, but it's not exactly exploding. It's just kind of hanging out. The bonds and notes were short bonds, long notes. I expect them both to go much lower. I don't see, what's going on here. I don't even know why we're long. I mean, I know we're long because the trend says we should be long, but overall, I mean, interest rates are going higher. Okay, the housing market's going to collapse. We're in a bubble. Just see what Kay Schiller says about it. But in the meantime, so we're short bonds, long notes. In the metals, we're still short gold. We're long silver. Platinum, we no longer trade because it's not liquid enough. But again, we would be short platinum here. But again, I will be a buyer at 900 again if it gets back down there again. Copper, we are long, and it was, of course, higher. The grain markets were really wild last week. Now, net higher for the week, but I mean, they had moves we haven't seen forever. Limit up, limit down. I mean, really, really wild kind of stuff. But we're long the grains across the board, and of course, we expect a potential big market. The meats, again, at the end of the day, we don't trade them anymore because again, they lost. A lot of the markets have lost much of their liquidity here. And I think what you want to remember is that you got to have liquid markets to trade, and we're going to be very cautious into getting involved in markets that are not liquid. But we would be long across the board. Now, personally, I'm going to sell cattle. I've already sold hogs just over $1. I don't think there's much room on the upside. I think the risk now is by owning them. I think that this is a very good spot. And they say in the commodity world, high prices cure high prices, and low prices cure low prices. Well, I think we're at that high level of pricing. Of course, natural gas, we're still long. It's just kind of vacillating. But if you look out to the curve, you'll see that prices are rising quickly. And if we get some kind of cold snap, which is not likely at the moment, but you could see natural gas prices rise. Crude, we're still long, and crude is now back over 80, and I think it's probably headed to going back over 100. I think you'll expect another cut in production from Saudi Arabia and the criminals from OPEC, so we'll see what happens there. In the softs, cocoa, we're still long, and it had a nice up week. Sugar, we're long, and it was okay. Cotton we're now long, OJ we're long, and coffee we're still short. And overall, pretty good, a pretty solid week. I don't expect much more. I think it's going to remain slow. I think you just need to be very careful on here. I don't know that there's going to be any major things happening between now and September at least. And again, anything can happen, right? Anything can come that is unexpected. But I would expect to see markets to be relatively stable. And certainly right now they're still leaning to the upside. So there's no reason to fight the tape or the trend. Let them go. Don't fight it. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, July the 30th. We're going to step out for our final break and come back with, of course, our commentary here on Sunday, July the 30th. Well, kids, again, obviously I'm not going to go through the whole spiel, but trade your brokerage, Capital Trading Group, scrolling on the sides, Target Trading, one of our new partners, and very good friends of ours who sponsors a couple of our webinars, and of course our high school program, which we're winding down because either we're going to be able to get it back in, which is another problem in this country, or not. But in the meantime, check us out, and everything is scrolling on the screen in front of you so you can see it. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, my commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line coming to you from my backyard and the pool, and, of course, here in beautiful Las Vegas. And, I find it extremely depressing to watch the abuse being put on the average American, to see Hunter Biden running around while Donald Trump gets persecuted every single day. I think that we're being run into the ground on purpose, and what really pisses me off is everybody has the same stock answer that America is the greatest country in the world. And I don't doubt that America is still the greatest, but America is not supposed to be going backwards. We are supposed to be the leader, not the follower. And so far, all President Biden has managed to do is to give away all of our power to China, Saudi Arabia, and the rest. And we have weakened this nation. And it's sad to me that, I'll be dead when it finally all plays out. But if you've listened to me for any amount of time, you've heard a lot of things that I've predicted or talked about over the years are coming to pass. And to me, I think it's a very big mistake to continue at this pace, because if you do, you will all be part of a socialist or a communist regime, and you will lose all of your power and all of your control. And this is exactly the plan of those in power. And those who don't step up and stand up for the United States of America, and remember that you are an American first before you were either a Democrat or Republican, and those who tolerate the women's soccer team not participating in the national anthem. And again, hey, you don't want to participate, don't take the benefit of the United States of America and play on their team. Okay? If you're going to bash the United States, then don't play on their team and take the money. In the meantime, again, I think that you can continue to hide and tell me that it's the best country in the world, which it still is. However, we're getting very dangerously close to falling apart. We're getting dangerously close to much bigger problems. And again, the problems will come down to the middle class, and you'll get crushed. Think about it, because we have elections coming up, and think about, who's taking care of you. Who's got their best interest in you, the American citizen. Bubba's Bottom Line, Sunday, July the 30th. Have a great weekend, everybody. As always, I thank you for your time. We'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update.